Hi guys, James here at Miss Soul Car Finance. Today I want to just speak to you about the mis-selling of cars. Now this time it's mainly due to mileage. So mileage is probably one of the most common areas of mis-selling, and it's the one that just sneaks up on people and they don't really know how it came about. About 3 years down the line, they're hooked into the car, they can't get out of the car and they've got a big excess penalty charge. So what I want to do is demonstrate how that works, because it is a bit of a ruse, there's a bit of an illusion and mystique in the same way like kind of smoke and mirrors when these things are going on, and it's very difficult for the general customer to understand all what's going on. And not to insult anybody, I put it onto cards because words are words and it's a bit in a dealership, it just kind of can over your head. So it's just to explain it in more detail how it actually works, and hopefully you can actually see it. It's a bit like a magic trick, like you can see it actually happen in front of your eyes, and it'll make a lot more sense to you. So day one, you go in, see a nice shiny car, you get in, it's new car day, you get into dealership, and 90% of cars are sold in PCP. So you go in, talk to the salesperson, and you agree that yep, that's the car you want. Now, there's loads of options. They say 90% of people are put into PCPs. There's good reason for that as well from the dealerships. They get a bit more profit out of it, more options, and they can make more money. So on this one, you go in, you do maybe average miles, which is 10,000 per annum, maybe more. You speak to the salesperson, they say, well, what we can do, here's your prices. At 10,000 miles, it's £450, £449 a month. And then you say, well, I put price. I say, well, what do you do if I can put you in at 6,000 miles at £399 now? And say, well, what about the miles? And they'll tell you, well, that's not a problem. Mileage isn't a problem. Make your payments. We'll deal with that at the end of it, and don't worry about that just now. Now that goes on. You take the car, you go out, you do your 10,000 per annum, whatever. So, and then year 3, you come back to dealership, and you're looking at returning your car, whatever, you'd like to maybe get a new car, you want to know what you can get. Now, the fact is that you're contracted for 18,000 miles. You've not done excessive miles, you've done 10,000 miles a year, nothing extreme, but you've now got a wee bit of a problem in your hands. And the chap who told you it's no problem, we'll deal with it later, well, now it is a problem, and you actually need to deal with it now. So this is the day that you have to kind of face up to your decisions and what you've agreed, etc. Now, because you've taken 6,000 per annum, it equates to 18. You've done 30. You've now got 12,000 miles excess. So if you think in your head, you probably think, well, that's only 4,000 miles a year. That's not excessive, which isn't by any stretch. But on something like this, or even a lot of other cars, just your general cars, on this car it's 30p per mile excess mileage charge. So your 12,000 miles equates to £3,600. So now you're seeing that it's quite a big problem. Now there's a couple of things here that we'd like to point out, is that your excess penalty charge doesn't always bear resemblance to the actual impact it has on the value of that car. So today we did a couple of cap valuations. So this is the tool that you use to value all the cars, etc. Now we did a cap valuation. We adjusted the miles higher by 12,000 miles, and it came out, it was £1,200 of a difference. So if you think of it, that ruse or that illusion has actually cost you absolute minimum £2,400 to £3,600. So it's not the real impact on the price of the car. So if you think back now to the first day you came into the dealership and you got all that, your pal decided, oh yeah, we'll do your wee deal on the car, we'll do it at 6,000 miles and this and that. Straight away, at that point, that was an unfair relationship, with the customer, because they know at that point, if they get to 6,000 miles, when it comes to the end, you've got a bigger problem, you're hooked into the dealership, and it's going to cost you money, and they're in effect going to make more profit out of the car. So that isn't doing you any favours, getting you that cheaper price. It's getting another £2.5 minimum back in their pocket after that 3-year period. And more importantly, what it does for the dealer, it means that you're stuck in the dealership with a car that you're just handing back, and you actually owe them £3,600. So they're saying, well, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to sort this? So you've then got to the point where you say to yourself, right, how did this come about? Now, I want to really explain a rouge, because people feel embarrassed, and they're a bit shocked at, how did I get into this? Am I silly? I don't want to tell anybody what happened to me. Now, the reality is, this applies to millions of people. Now, we're not talking like a few hundred or tens of thousands. We're genuinely talking millions of people are falling, foul of this kind of trap. And as I say, a rouge, it means, it's tricks of the trade, indirect means to gain an end or imply deception, illusion, attempting to mislead by false impression. Now, it's all a bit harsh, but that's literally what it is. And it's not until 3 years down the line you realise that the minute you walked in, that's where you were heading. Now, this is only one of 5 areas that we're aware of, with the mis-selling. And this is probably one of the biggest ones. And not everybody would get into their contract in that detail to see the excess miles, do the calculations, do all the stats. They look at the monthly figure. They've been told by the kind salesperson, yeah, don't worry about that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Now, the only option you've got, or you've got an option there, yeah, you can pay the dealer £3,600 and walk away, and in effect, it's cost you extra every month for that car. Now, then the other option is you're back to day one again. It's new car day, but the difference is you're now going into your next car with £3,500 of excess mileage charge, which you're having to bear. And often what they'll do is they'll say, well, we'll just roll that into the next car. So they're either rolling into a finance deal, which again is wrong. They shouldn't be doing that either, because that's carrying liability from a previous car into another car by inflating the figures, etc. So you've now rolled that £3,600 into another car. The same process begins, and you think you'll never fall into it again, but the exact same process begins because you can't get out of it. And then it's called rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. 3 years on, you've now got the same problem, but this time it's doubled. You've got a £7,200 problem. So it's that simple, and I just really wanted to show you pretty much on the cards, just how easy it is, and how this comes about, and how many people fall foul of it. Millions, and we have like thousands of inquiries and complaints regarding this. So all I wanted to say is be aware of it. Don't get caught out with it, and if you have been, then speak to ourselves. We'll be able to give you all the right advice, and get some money back for you, get a claim going for you and stuff as well. But it's just important, firstly, you don't fall into that. I would rather not see anybody having to make a claim and just not being taken advantage of in the first instance. So thanks very much for listening. I hope I've not insulted you with the cards and the breakdown, but it's very important to make it clear. And we'd love to hear from you. Just get in touch and we'll do everything we can to help. Okay, thanks again.